There are mainly two theories available to study the active and passive earth pressure state. Those are Coulomb's theory and Rankine's theory. So this Rankine's theory is only the important one for the exam. For Coulomb's theory, we'll just see the assumptions. So for Rankine's theory, he assumed that all the soil mass is in plastic equilibrium. Plastic equilibrium at active or passive earth pressure state. So what does it mean? It means that every point in the soil mass at every point in the soil mass the shear failure is just about to happen. Whereas in reality what happens, this is the basic assumption which we call as the plastic equilibrium, but in reality what happens, so when this wall try to move away or towards the soil, because of that a part of this soil mass it will go in plastic state, not the whole soil mass. Only a part of the soil mass will be in plastic state, and in this part we can apply this condition that the shear stresses are equal to shear strength. This is the difference between theory and practice. So there are some more assumptions involved. The first one is the backfill is isotropic, homogeneous and cohesionless. It means this theory was derived for cohesionless soil, that is a sandy soil, and it is isotropic and homogeneous in nature, and later we'll see for the cohesive soil also, but initially it was derived for cohesionless soil. The soil is in plastic equilibrium during the state of active and passive earth pressure. So as I said, when the soil is just at active state or passive state, it is in plastic equilibrium, which means that the shear stresses are equal to shear strength, or the shear failure is just about to happen in the soil. And the backfill surface is horizontal. It means that if this is the wall, so this surface is horizontal here. We'll see for the inclined surface also, but initially it was assumed horizontal. The rupture surface is planar, so rupture surface it was assumed planar, but in reality it will be something curved like this. So for the simplification it is assumed planar. And last is the back of the wall is vertical and smooth. So this part is assumed vertical and smooth, because if it had not been vertical, then some more stresses will also come into picture. This vertical stresses will also be applied, but we are just talking about these horizontal stresses. And if it had not been smooth, then this friction will come into picture, and due to that some more stresses will develop, but that is not considered for the simplification. Now we'll consider the active and passive state. So first we'll see the active state. So what happens in active state? This is the wall and this is the backfill. So this wall moves away from the soil, and because of that the soil mass can expand, and if it expanding, so this compressive stress it will reduce or it decreases, so that we can say that the earth pressure reduces if we compare it with the earth pressure at rest condition. In other words, or in other way, we can see it as when this wall moves away, so because of that a shear plane is developed, and now this soil mass above this plane is trying to move in this direction, and because of that the shear resistance is mobilized in the opposite direction. Now if we consider it with the stress or the horizontal stress, so this shear resistance is in the opposite direction of this horizontal stress. It means that this stress will decrease as the shear resistance increases. Now as the soil reaches, or we can say that as the wall moves outward, So this shear resistance will increase and we'll reach a point at which this shear resistance is maximum, which is equal to its shear strength. Now after that, even if the wall moves a little further, and then what will happen, this soil mass will simply fall down. It means that after this point the shear stresses will be more than the shear strength. So we are just talking about that limiting condition when shear strength is equal to shear stress. At that point, what is going to be the horizontal pressure? That will be our active earth pressure. This is we are trying to find out. So we are trying to find out sigma x when tau reaches the shear strength of the soil. So we can do it by using our Mohr envelope and Mohr circle. So this line indicates the Mohr envelope for cohesionless soil, so it will pass through origin, and these are different Mohr envelopes, Mohr circles for different values of stresses. So let's consider an element in this soil mass. Now this, let's say it is at depth z, so it is, this stress is sigma x and this vertical stress is sigma z. Now on this vertical and horizontal plane, there will be no shear stresses, so they are principal planes, and then we can draw it in the form of Mohr circle. So here what is happening in the active state, this sigma x is reducing as the wall is moving outwards and sigma z is constant. So what will happen, this sigma x will become the minor principal stress and sigma z will become the major principal stress. So let's say if this red one is the initial circle, so sigma z is the major principal stress and sigma x is the minor principal stress. So now what happens, this is the initial condition. Now what will happen, sigma x reduces and sigma z remains constant. So here we can see it as sigma z is still sigma z, but sigma x reaches up to this point on this green circle because it will reduce, so the dia will increase, so the circle will change. Now if it reduces further, then it will reach at this point, and at this point what happens, the Mohr circle touches the strength envelope, and so if the stress is further reduced, so that if this sigma x is further reduced, then this Mohr circle should become greater than this, or should cross this strength envelope, and that condition is not possible because shear failure will happen. So we are just talking about the condition when sigma x is equal to this value such that the Mohr circle touches the strength envelope. So we want to know this sigma x. Now how can we know that? So this, one more thing here is, this circle is the case of plastic state of plastic equilibrium, whereas these smaller circles are case of elastic equilibrium. So how can we find this sigma x when this Mohr circle touches the strength envelope? So in shear strength of the soil, we developed one relationship between shear stress and shear strength. So we know that sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3 tan square 45 plus 5 by 2 plus 2c tan 45 plus 5 by 2. We are talking about cohesionless soil, so it is c equal to 0. And here sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3. This term we can write as 1 plus sin phi upon 1 minus sin phi. Now what is sigma 1 here and what is sigma 3? We know that sigma 1 is the major principal stress and sigma 3 is the minor principal stress. So sigma 1 here is the sigma z, that is vertical stress. So sigma 1 I can replace it with sigma z, and sigma 3 we can replace with sigma x, that is 1 plus sin phi upon 1 minus sin phi. Now from here sigma x is equal to 1 minus sin phi upon 1 plus sin phi times sigma z. and sigma x is nothing but our active earth pressure. We denote it with PA. Sigma z is the vertical stress, so that is equal to gamma into z, and this k 1 minus sine phi upon 1 plus sine phi is called as the active earth pressure coefficient, which is equal to 1 minus sine phi upon 1 plus sine phi. So from here the active earth pressure is equal to Ka gamma z. So that is the formula. One more thing that we want to know is the plane of failure. That is plane of failure from horizontal. So we are trying to find out the angle of failure plane. So this is similar to what we have done in shear strength. So if this is the plane of failure, this point here, so if the coordinates are sigma into tau, sigma and tau, so this angle here represents the failure plane from horizontal. Now we have to find out this angle. So this we can find out by using the properties of triangle. So here this angle is theta, so this angle will be 2 theta, and this angle is phi. So from here 2 theta is equal to phi plus 90, and from here theta is equal to 45 plus pi by 2. So that gives us the angle of failure plane from horizontal. Theta is equal to 45 plus pi by 2. And so next is our passive earth pressure, it is passive state. So in this what happens, if this is the wall, this is the soil mass, in this case the wall moves towards the soil, and so in this case the soil is being compressed, so the sigma x will increase because the soil is being compressed, and sigma x is also a compressive stress, so sigma x will increase. In other words, if this is the shear plane that is developed due to this compression, so now if this soil mass is trying to move upwards and outwards, and due to that shear resistance is developed in this direction. Now this shear resistance and this horizontal pressure are in same direction. It means because of the shear resistance the sigma x increases. So what is our limiting condition here? Our limiting condition is when the shear resistance has reached the shear strength of the soil. So after that, if we further move this wall towards the soil, so that what will happen, this soil mass will simply go out of this location. It means that shear stresses in this part will exceed the shear strength. So we are just talking about the point where the shear strength are equal to shear stress. That will be our plastic equilibrium here. So again we can consider one element in the soil that is at z depth, and this stress is sigma z, this stress is sigma x. Now sigma z is still constant as it was in active earth pressure case, but in this case sigma x is increasing. So if it is constant and sigma x is increasing, so sigma x surpasses the value of sigma z. So sigma x becomes a major principal stress, whereas sigma z becomes a minor principal stress. So here we can see it in again using the Mohr circle and strength envelope. So this red one is our initial Mohr circle. Sigma z has a constant value here, that is sigma z. Now initially sigma x was here in the rest condition. Now we are pushing the wall towards the soil so that sigma x will increase. So sigma x has reached this point first. Now if we further increase the sigma x, so sigma x exceeds the value of sigma z. So sigma x has reached this point and it will reach this point after that. So there will be a condition when sigma x is such that the Mohr circle touches the failure envelope, and that is our plastic equilibrium condition, because shear stresses are equal to shear strength at this plane, and at this point we want to find out the sigma x. That's how we define our active and passive earth pressure. So in this case we are talking about passive earth pressure. Now again the same relationship, that is sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3 times square 45 plus 5 by 2 and plus rest of the part is 0 for cohesionless soil. Now what is sigma 1 here and what is sigma 3 here? So I have already said that the sigma z becomes the minor principal stress now, and sigma z x becomes the major principal stress. So sigma 1 is equal to sigma x and sigma 3 is equal to sigma z, and this term we can write as 1 plus sine phi upon 1 minus sine phi. So this 1 plus sine phi upon 1 minus sine phi is nothing but the passive earth pressure coefficient, and sigma z we can write as gamma z, and sigma x is denoted with pp, that is passive earth pressure. So passive earth pressure is equal to kp gamma z. That is the value of passive earth pressure, and we want to know the failure plane angle, failure plane from horizontal. So again from horizontal if we want to find out, so that this Mohr circle has this property, or if we take the angle from the vertical plane, so that denotes the, so vertical stress or the stress on vertical plane is sigma x. So stress on vertical plane is sigma x here, and so angle taken from the vertical plane in Mohr circle represents the angle from horizontal, or you can say that if I am taking the angle from this stress in the Mohr circle, but in actual it will represent this angle theta, and that's what we are trying to find out, that is angle from horizontal. So here we are trying to find out this theta. Again in this triangle now we can see if it is O A B, so phi plus 2 theta plus 90 is equal to 180, and from here theta is equal to 45 minus 5 by 2. So here failure plane angle theta is equal to 45 minus 5 by 2. So you can remember this, that the failure plane in passive state is 45 minus 5 by 2, whereas in active state it is 45 plus 5 by 2, and there will be two failure planes because this will cut on this side also, here also this angle is theta. So there are two failure planes. Same is the case in this case also, here also it will touch here, so this angle is also theta. Now after that let's compare the earth's pressure coefficients. So we saw three cases, that is earth's pressure at rest and active state and passive state. In earth pressure at rest, if we are writing the earth pressure coefficient in terms of phi, so it is equal to 1 minus sine phi. In active state it is equal to 1 minus sine phi upon 1 plus sine phi, and in passive state it is equal to 1 plus sine phi upon 1 minus sine phi. So here you can see that in active state it is just equal to 1 minus sine phi, whereas passive state we are dividing 1 minus sine phi with 1 plus sine phi. So Ka, that is active earth pressure coefficient, is less than K naught, and Kp, that is passive earth pressure coefficient, is greater than both of these, because this term will be greater than 1, whereas these two will be less than 1. So this is the relationship, and so here we can see that because earth pressure is given as K into gamma z, so only K is changing between the various cases. So Ka is minimum and K naught is in between and Kp is maximum. So earth pressure at rest will be in between, and earth pressure in active state is minimum and earth pressure in passive state is maximum. same as what we saw in this diagram, like this. So this is the earth pressure at rest, or P naught. This is PP, and this will be your PA. So after that we'll see the various cases of the soil mass, that if water table is here, or different types of soil is there, soil A, soil B, or if this is inclined. So these cases we'll consider.